All right, in 3, 2, 1.
Run! Go! Get to the podcast!
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a podcast?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and podcast. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hey everyone, welcome to Get to the Podcast. That's Get to the Podcast with the number 2. My name is Diego D'Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
And the weather outside is frightful. And the
Something's delightful.
And
insert thing that's delightful here.
You know what
whenever
blows my
this
mind
podcast flows
about Christmas music? I had this idea growing up that Christmas music was this ancient holiday, Christmas was this ancient holiday, and this music for some reason was super old. It went back to the Middle Ages, and then I found out all these songs were written in the 50s and 60s,
40s, 50s, and
50s,
50s, 60s, probably,
all the classics that we listened to.
Perry Como, Frank
that I grew up
Sinatra,
with.
Dean Martin, it's just Bing Crosby.
They just wrote Christmas songs, and then they play them every year.
Somehow they became iconic, and most of them were written just about 60, 70 years ago.
That just blows my mind.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know what? I haven't gotten into the seasonal spirit yet.
You haven't? Well, you got your
This
Christmas
year?
tree up.
Yeah, it looks
I
awesome.
honestly got to give all that credit to my wife, man.
Yeah.
I'm just, I don't know. I think
you need to watch a
as
couple
soon as
movies and
Black
start playing
Friday
music.
came in, I was so hateful because people, y'all pieces of shit.
Did you go out shopping?
Yeah, acting like, hell no, I'm not gonna go. I ain't gonna die. Trying to die.
I was driving up
I
to
Cyber
my
Monday'd.
cousins on Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and when we saw a Best Buy, this whole shopping center off the highway or whatever, and there were 100 people. This was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, no, 1 p.m. on Thanksgiving, and people were lined up.
It's
in
crazy.
chairs and tents
Why?
outside of
It
Best
is
Buy to
crazy.
save
Why?
$50 on a TV or
Yeah.
something.
It is
I'm
crazy.
if they're giving out free cars, I'll camp out overnight.
Right.
I guess when I was younger, maybe I would have considered camping out. To
Yeah,
save,
all those people are
$20
younger than
on
you.
something.
It's so
Yeah,
incredible how the brain works that it's literally like a hog cage, and people just throw a little bit of food in the middle, and
It's
but we make
chum in the water.
Yeah,
I
chum
feel
in
like
the water.
we're
Yeah, it's
more set up and
crazy.
more we make more money now, and we can just buy what we want. Whereas
Right.
when you're a kid or a teenager or going to college or something like
Sure.
that, you don't have any money. So when you see a deal for something you want and you can afford it, and it's a couple $100 off, you'll do something crazy like camp out for 2 days in 30-degree weather.
It's true.
Yeah.
just to
It
get
is
out
true.
and
one
how
of
much
10
money did you
TVs.
spend camping out? Let's just go
money
get
did
some
you
food.
lose? Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Well, if
it's
you're
so
not
interesting.
working,
True.
then you didn't lose anything.
Well, you shouldn't be in that fucking line if you ain't working to get a damn TV. That's all
These
I
are
have
kids,
to say.
man. These are young people.
Yeah.
I always remember
people.
this the Onion headline. It was 20 million people stampeded to death during Black Friday sale.
So
20 million people.
You guys
That's
haven't seen
crazy.
Krampus. Did you watch Krampus? I feel
No,
like we talked about this.
Nah,
we talked.
that you telling me about that opening scene where
Yeah.
they open the doors is what made me want to see the movie.
It's worth just the opening scene of Krampus is worth watching the whole. I mean, the whole movie is great, I think, but that opening scene, it's this slow motion Black Friday mob insanity, and it's the perfect depiction of how crazy it gets.
Yeah.
I watched some. Oh, there was videos that came out from South Africa. Randomly, I woke up morning after Thanksgiving, and I'm on my phone, and it was all these videos of people in South Africa because they just introduced, I guess, our Black Friday has become a popular thing in South Africa and Cape Town or something at the malls there. And people were they would open these crazy doors, these giant warehouse doors would open, and just millions of people just knocking each other over. And I'm
Did you ever
man,
see-
it spread to South Africa?
It's
The
everywhere.
madness?
It's everywhere. Did you see the one that they showed America's Black Friday versus Britain and and the European, where they're all just in line properly walking in.
Oh,
and here
yeah.
it's
I feel
the
like over
stamping.
there, yeah.
It's just freaking crazy.
They have
But
a thing in Canada. It's not on Black Friday, but they have another day.
They have
I
ano-
think
yeah,
a lot of countries
there's-
have their own days that are
Just like Amazon has their day, there's another day that's
I forget what
really
it's
crazy.
called. It's
Does it
Check
have to do with
day or-
Alibaba or something like that? I don't know.
oh, I don't know. There's so many. Yeah, it's
It's
the
great.
day everybody gets their tax return or some
Right.
shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we're going to talk about black and white Christmas movies.
Yeah.
That's a very specific thing, right?
Yeah, Black Friday,
very
black
specific.
and white
Yeah,
Christmas
see,
movies.
there you go. So if you think about it, that's a very specific
But
thing.
they've
black
all
and
been
white.
colorized.
So actually, a chunk of them have.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that when they color black and white movies, it looks a little odd to me. It's been done well, but at the same time, some of them look weird.
Yeah.
Like when they actually have gone through.
I don't like it.
painted
I
each
think the
frame
black
or
and white
every cell.
gives it more something.
Yeah,
more
I like
magic.
black and white movies, and they were filmed with that intention. So
Yeah.
it's sort of like that original, like the way they even dressed them and did the lighting and everything. So I just think it just works better. But black and white Christmas movies are a very specific thing. That obviously means they're older movies. But you look at the classics. If you go, oh, what are your favorite Christmas movies? It's like Christmas Vacation. It's Elf. It's Scrooged. It's maybe Love Actually.
Yeah,
Home Alone.
Yeah.
But we want to go older.
Ernest
than that.
Saves Christmas.
Ernest Saves Christmas. But we want to go.
Oh my
Krampus.
We want to go older than that and go to more classic films. Most of these will probably take place in the 40s and the 50s. I actually have at least one that's in the 30s.
One of Nick's favorite films of all time. I haven't seen it in years.
We gotta watch it.
I know you said that last year. And
I
we
know,
didn't
we're
watch
gonna-
it.
we're gonna watch
I
it this year.
I watched Krampus last
I got
year.
Kelly to
That's
watch
what
it
I
either
watched.
last year or the year before.
That's true.
Yeah.
No.
No.
This movie.
It's
He
a
knows
Wonderful
that.
Life?
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a
yeah.
Wonderful Life.
It's like Nick's jam.
When you watch it, you'll understand.
I've seen it.
No,
I've
when
seen
you-
it multiple
but
times.
when you watch
it's
it
been years.
newly-
But when you watch
Yeah.
it, Nick in
With-
his pajamas,
Yes,
you'll understand.
And I'm
the whole Christmas experience,
whole Christmas
chestnuts
yes,
roasting
yeah.
on an open fire,
and I'm
everything.
feeding you
Yeah.
Christmas cookies, against
Yeah.
your will.
He's
And
like
you're
this.
not-
He's handing you cookies and putting it in your mouth as he's watching it. Yeah,
And then
you
I
like
let
it.
my
Eyes are like taped open.
My fingers linger a little bit longer in your mouth than you're comfortable with.
He's making sure all the crumbs are in there.
So
Oh God,
it's
that
a-
reminds me of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Do you remember
my
that scene with the finger in the mouth? Anyway,
All right, so It's a Wonderful Life. We're gonna talk about the two obvious ones right from the top. It's a Wonderful Life
and Miracle.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But let's start with It's a Wonderful Life. First Frank Capra film, right? He did a few films with Jimmy Stewart. Frank Capra has this ability to tap into, the emotion of film. Like he did that with You Can't Take It With You. Is that what it's called? You Can't Take It With You. He did it with It's a Wonderful Life, obviously. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Mrs. Deeds Goes
Dude,
to...
this is totally aside. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess this makes sense with the black and white. But I just watched Citizen Kane.
Oh!
That
wow.
movie is nuts.
It's crazy.
That's a
I'm
good
like,
movie. It's the
how
reason
is
why
this
people
movie
put that...
so good.
That's why people put it at like the top of the list of all time. Like
Yeah, and what's his name? Orson Welles.
Yeah.
He's like so good.
Wrote, directed, and acted.
Like his
Yeah.
performance though is
Yeah.
like better than like most top tier actors that I see today.
Yeah. It's
and
pretty incredible.
he's like everything. Like he
Yeah.
wrote, directed. He's like
Yeah.
directing himself in
Yeah,
that
and it's a
movie.
deep movie.
Yeah, and he's playing like all these different different young versions. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
all
just a
that-
total aside. But I
It's-
was just like,
yeah.
1940,
crazy.
41, right, exactly. So It's a Wonderful Life was 1946, so it was a few
Yeah.
years after Citizen Kane. But Frank Capra just has this, I don't know, if you watch all of his movies, if for some reason he just has this thing that he does.
Yeah.
And I think he just captures it beautiful, and It's a Wonderful Life does it. That is a heavy film. This is not
is.
some
It's-
light, little, airy, whatever.
and it was
This-
a flop, I think, when it came out.
I think, it didn't make as much as they had hoped or whatever, so I think it was considered just didn't do great.
What's the whole background on it? Because it came out, didn't. I mean, I don't think it did well financially. I don't think the critics maybe kind of panned it a little bit at the time, and then it went into obscurity, and then they whoever
Started
owned the
showing it
copyright. No, it was like
on
whoever
TV.
owned the copyright they lost the copyright. Somehow it went lapsed, and so the television networks were able to essentially display copies of it on TV every Christmas or during the holiday season
Right.
and not pay anybody.
Yeah.
And it was like then there was like a legal battle about who had the copyright, and so that's why they were showing it at Christmas.
Right.
They started showing it on TV at Christmas time just to fill time.
Right.
And it was like, oh, this is free. We don't have to pay anything.
Right.
And then it just became a fucking reinvented. People I guess there's people watching it every
Yeah.
year. People were like, "Oh my god, this
And
is
they-
a really good fucking
Exactly,
movie."
and then retroactively we're like, it's a fucking amazing movie, and it
But that
really
story
is.
in itself is crazy.
It is.
Like
Jimmy's-
how it ended up becoming. What it is
the
today.
background of that, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy Stewart. First off, if you like Jimmy Stewart, you see him in anything, the Hitchcock
He's great.
films,
He's so
anything.
good.
He's so good.
Yeah.
and he's so good in this film because he plays a guy who's effectively having a nervous breakdown and wants to kill himself.
Yeah.
like that is like the darkness. That's the premise of this movie. It starts with him having gone missing and people around the town kind of praying for him. like that.
Yeah,
God, please take care of him. I forget his name in the movie, but like, please take care of him.
I think that's why people didn't like it because it was such a dark fucking
It
movie.
starts dark, like that's
It's
the
too
premise.
real, you
and then
know?
then it's like, okay, the God like brings this angel, which is all done in this little star kind of scape, and it's like brings this angel. You're gonna go down and you're gonna basically help him, and then you're gonna get your wings.
Yeah.
You know, if you do this right, you'll get your wings. And he's like, but let's give you a recap of this guy's life, and it goes through his life, starting and these selfless acts that he did throughout his life, and
kind
how
of like
it all
Citizen Kane a little bit.
yeah, it's like
the
it's
flashbacks.
yeah, even the sledding or whatever. How he lost his hearing in one of his ears, and like
Rosebud.
all of these times when he basically things could have gone better for him, but they didn't because he gave it up for other people.
Yeah.
But that took a toll on him after time. You know, by the time when he's older, it's like something big happens. Like he's running this loan, banking and loan company or whatever, and something really goes wrong, and he's just like done. He snaps.
Yeah.
He's ready to off himself. But the movie is about redemption. It's about finding what's important in life. It's about finding yourself. And it's all takes place on Christmas Eve, I think it is.
Yeah.
I just love it. Lionel Barrymore plays, the crotchety, whatever the hell, I'm forgetting.
The head of the bank manager, or whatever, the money guy.
He's not the bank manager. Mr. Shit. I forget. Anyways, he plays a total piece of shit.
Yeah, the money guy.
Yeah,
He's in a
old Miss-
wheelchair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's not a bank
I
manager.
always remember it because SNL did a skit with
John Lovitz. And,
John
and
Lovitz,
Danny
and he's
Carvey
like,
and,
well, that guy, he's not
Dennis
even
Miller.
a cripple.
Yeah.
And it was God, what's his name?
It was
who
the
played Jimmy
alternate
Stewart.
ending. Yeah, it was the alternate
deleted
ending.
scene or
Dana
something.
Carvey played Jimmy
Dana
Stewart.
Carvey, yeah.
Dennis Miller played in it. Yeah, it was.
You're not even a cripple. He's like, I gotta explain that. they're like, let's go get him.
And it was the lost alternate ending to It's a Wonderful Life, and it's like
like-
after they all have a good time at the end,
Yeah.
they decide to come together and go beat the shit out of this old man. Old Mister. God, what is his name? It's not Withers. It's
something like that.
I'm looking it up right
It's
now.
with a C, I think.
Yeah, Crothers.
Crothers?
I don't know.
No, that's
Mr. Pot? No, not Mr. Potter.
no. The Crothers is that
Is it Mr. Potter?
Potter? No, Potter.
Mr. Potter.
His name's Harry
It's Mr.
Potter.
Potter.
Yeah.
It's like Henry
Is it
Potter.
Harry-
I think it's Henry Potter
Henry
or something
Potter?
like that. Yeah.
It's just Mr. Potter right
Yeah,
here.
but I think it's Henry
Yeah.
Potter in the movie. Yeah, so exactly. Anyways, the movie is just fantastic. It really is. If you're not partial to black and white films, which some people aren't, this movie
weird.
transcends. I know it is weird to me.
I don't
This
get
movie
it.
transcends that. Like it really. It pulls on the heartstrings. It taps into that emotion, and it does a fantastic job. The acting is incredible. The writing's incredible. The scenery. There are moments in the score of the film. It's just fantastic. I would recommend it to anybody.
What's the
who
scene
hasn't
at the
seen
end with the little girl? Every time a bell rings.
Teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings.
It's like the most iconic,
yeah.
like kind of little scene. And
How
it's-
about that, Clarence?
Yeah, I feel like a
Clarence
lot
is
of
the
people have
angel.
seen that because that's referenced in so many other movies. That one scene at the end, and a lot of people haven't seen the movie itself.
The
from
origin,
beginning
the
to
source
end.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you watch that movie from beginning to end, it's as an adult, not as as a child, you're going to take away certain things from it, but as an adult, like understanding this guy
Brings
and
them
the
a whole
trauma.
different meaning to
Yeah, it's
it.
a whole different meaning.
Right.
Like
Maybe
it's,
I need
you
to
know.
watch that because I'm still not.
It's really because
I need to get into this.
It allows
It's
yeah,
worth. It's
Because my wife is like,
I'm gonna
really
rewatch
into
it. Yeah,
yeah. I
because
need to
it's-
watch it
because it offers up to the cynic. It offers up the cynical side of it because that is what's going on. It's the darkness, it's the
Yeah.
heaviness, it's the cynicism of like, is it even worth being a good person? Is it even worth being alive?
Yeah.
And then it really taps into without being smarmy or whatever. Like or
All of it
just
goes over your head as a
cheesy.
kid.
Yeah.
As a kid's like none
Yeah.
of that. You don't have those experiences to connect with what this guy's going through. So
Right.
you're like, I don't.
Yeah.
Like I see it, like that's cool. An angel showed up. That's pretty badass. You know, look at the
Right.
wings. Like that's as a kid.
this
You
is
know,
special
snowing.
effects?
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like snow.
No, there were no wings. Yeah, but there's a whole point. He gets his wings at the end
Right.
when the bell rings. Right. But exactly, yeah, you see different things as a kid, and as an
Yeah.
adult, it's definitely like an adult film as well.
Yeah.
It's not made. It's
and they
not,
colorized this movie.
They did. Yeah.
3 different times
Yeah,
apparently.
I've never watched the color version. I've seen clips of it or whatever, but I've never
No.
watched.
I've
that.
never seen the
I
color
would
version.
suggest the black and white just because that's how it was
I
filmed.
think this is one that they remastered. Like it was one of those Criterion.
Criterion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Criterion collection where they remastered it. And I have to say, like, just on it from a technical point of view, when they remaster these old films from like the 40s and 50s and
Yeah.
60s in like HD, the 4K, or whatever, they look incredible.
They are
like
so awesome.
Casablanca, like it's crazy
It
how
makes a
good they
difference.
look. You're like, it's a whole new movie. It's a whole new experience, even
'cause
if you've seen it 100 times.
These things were filmed on film stock 70 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And like that does not hold up. Like that degenerates
they'll-
over time. So
they
you need to-
scan in each frame
And then clean
of
it
the
up
film, and
by
then they
hand.
digitally clean
Yeah.
it up, and it's just like it just looks unreal.
It really is
It's amazing.
incredible.
Yeah, it's
I mean, it
amazing.
probably is unreal.
But this
because
too
it's
is a
digitally
film that you
enhanced,
don't
but-
need that. You don't need I mean, yes, it'll look.
Yeah, that was just
great.
a total aside. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, I love it.
But
I love when
but
to
it
see
has been
Citizen Kane like
remastered.
that, like
Visually,
Citizen
yeah,
Kane
yeah,
in HD
totally
is
love
like unbelievable. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. I love seeing those old movies or like the
And now
Twilight
they're gonna
Zone
redo it
series
to-
was released
Twilight Zone
in-
looks great. Yeah.
in
Now they're gonna
Blu-ray.
redo it to the whole new 8K generation.
I can't
They
do
just-
it. Too many Ks.
Too many Ks.
I'm not even on 4K. Yet.
I wasn't
can't
even
fuck
down with KKK, so now why am I going to be getting
Oh.
behind this? All right, I said I wasn't down with it.
Wow.
Wasn't even a funny
Is
joke.
that a line? Was that a line?
Wasn't even a funny joke.
Was that a line?
So let's go to the next one. The obvious.
Miracle on 34th
Miracle on
Street.
34th Street.
Yeah.
The original.
The original is
Which
so
I do
good.
like the remake actually a lot. But that
The
original
remake is great. Who's the guy who plays Santa in the original?
I've
seen him. He
forget-
was in like Twilight Zone or something. That's where I've seen him.
Yeah,
from.
I always forget his name, and I can't really remember anything else he was in. But he's so good in it. He's got that
He's great.
twinkle in his eye, that jolliness to him.
Yeah.
He was the quintessential Santa for the longest time. But the premise of this movie is basically you have this guy. What I love about it is it's not on the nose, right? You
Yeah.
never see him as really Santa. You never see him with his
he doesn't get
reindeer
his
for
sleigh
real.
and the reindeer and
No,
fly
there's no
around.
flying.
Like,
There's no magic in it. That
whether
you can
he's
see.
real or not, I don't think is the relevant part. It's whether you believe.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really not about is he or isn't he for real. Because that's the whole movie is you got this guy who walks around and he's walking around in a suit, in New York City on 34th Street and, Fifth Avenue, all that. And you're sort of like, well, who is this guy, right? Or 6th Avenue.
The guy literally could have just came into the city, fell over, hit his head, and he's like, "I'm Santa Claus."
Yeah, he's like,
and then
he tells everybody
convinces the whole
he tells
city.
everybody he's Chris Kringle and his address is at the North Pole and that's where he lives and
Yeah.
people are like, all right, old man. And he comes across the Thanksgiving Day parade where they always have
know-
Santa Claus.
You know what it reminded me of a little bit? Harvey.
Yeah, a bit.
Because
Yeah, you think
Jimmy
he's kind
Stewart
of,
and Harvey? Yeah, he keeps talking to Harvey, the
who's a
giant
big
rabbit.
rabbit, yeah.
Or what do they call it? Not a rabbit. They used another term. It wasn't like a hare. It was
I thought it was rabbit.
no. There's like a term that they use for the type of rabbit. He's
buck
like a
rabbit?
specific
Buck
species
rabbit,
of rabbit or something.
Oh, I don't remember
I
that.
have to look this up, but that's a fantastic movie. I haven't seen it, but it reminded me of that a little bit because people are like, "Oh, this dude's fucking nuts."
Yeah.
and then there are people that are like, they recognize what's going on, and then they just they just acknowledge the person. And they're like, "Yeah,"
and he's a
it's
very
fine.
positive person.
Like he's not hurting
Yeah,
anybody.
he's a nice
like,
guy. He's positive, which
Yeah.
is also that's Jimmy Stewart, right? Harvey was Jimmy Stewart.
Harvey was Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah. That was good. You turned me on to that film. That was really good.
Yeah.
But Miracle on 34th Street, he comes across the Thanksgiving Day Parade and he finds that the Santa, because Thanksgiving Day Parade, the Macy's Parade, always has Santa.
Yeah.
Right? That's like kind of the gem in, the jewel in the crown at the end. And he finds this drunk ass fucking Santa trying to, he's like, you're supposed to be representing me, Santa Claus, and you're like drunk. So he basically beats the shit out of him, steals his clothes. That's not really how it happens.
No, that is not what happened.
but
Santa Claus.
That's the
don't
Chris
beat,
Kringle
though.
I know.
But effectively, the guy
Kringle, bitch.
yeah, the guy basically effectively just screws it up, and he ends up donning the suit to become Santa.
Yeah.
And he is a hit. So they decide Macy's or Gimbels or whatever decides to give him a job as the store Santa.
Yeah.
And he befriends the mother, who's kind of this woman who's in charge of this whole thing and kind of an executive or manager in the store, who has this little girl. She's like a single mother, has this little girl who's which is played by a young Natalie Woods from West Side Story.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wait, Natalie Wood is the young
she's
the little girl.
Yeah. She's a
Oh,
little
wow,
good.
she was in Brainstorm. Do you ever see Brainstorm?
No, you told me about that.
Oh my God, Christopher Walken, Natalie
keep
Wood.
telling me, yeah.
Have you seen Brainstorm, Diego? Totally unrelated. It's not a Christmas movie.
It's not.
I don't
You
know.
never
I
seen
don't know if I
Brainstorm?
have or
We've
not.
talked about it before. though.
You guys need to watch Brainstorm.
I would like
we need to talk
yeah,
about it. It's a
I gotta
crazy
see it.
movie.
Sorry,
But yeah,
I just had to finish Narcos.
It's the last movie Natalie Wood did before she was murdered by that guy and Christopher Walken.
Oh no! Allegedly,
Isn't
not
that
even
what-
allegedly. That's not true.
Did you just,
Christopher
like,
Walken didn't
She
kill him.
drowned on a boat with Christopher Walken
In the early
and
80s.
God, who was the
Robert
guy?
Wagner.
Robert Wagner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
and
is her
everybody was
husband.
like,
It was her husband at the time.
well, "What's going on here?"
Did you
That
just
was
kill
weird.
shot?
Huh? Kill shot?
Eminem kill shot.
No, I haven't.
Just like the whole.
I'm not hip with the.
Then he put out
Eminem.
the hit that got Tupac killed or it's
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
Eminem kill shot disc.
Oh, okay.
So basically, you're saying that. Yeah.
No,
That was a rumor.
That's a story. Yeah,
That was
like-
a rumor that went around that there was like
It's
some
a story.
weird infidelity or something, and someone murdered someone, and then they just covered it up.
By the way,
Yeah.
Chris Kringle, his name was Edmund Gwen.
Gwyn,
the
Gwyn,
act-
yeah,
the
that's
actor,
right,
yeah.
Gwyn. So, okay, back to the fucking story. Natalie Wood
Back
plays
to the holiday season.
Natalie Wood.
I didn't know that. Yeah,
so
Natalie
she
Wood.
plays a little girl in the film, and she is basically kind of very conservative, like her mother, and is brought up to not believe in fairy tales and things like Santa Claus. And he kind of.
Puka. What's a puka? That's the name of the rabbit. That's the type of
Oh,
rabbit.
okay. Jesus Christ.
I had to
Holy
figure
shit.
this out. It's a thing.
You take
You
your.
just
You take
I
your
thought you just had a stroke
a
or some
puka
shit.
is like a in Celtic folklore about like a fucking human-sized rabbit that like
Okay.
talks to people. It's like a mythical creature.
I thought you just had
Gotcha.
a stroke or something.
No, I was like,
random.
You take your
sorry.
medicine today? You take your medicine?
You knew that's what I was doing this whole time. I'm like, looking on my phone. I'm
I
like,
know.
fucking gotta find out what the name of that goddamn rabbit is.
Jesus.
It's fucking Harvey.
All right, so let's talk about Miracle on 34th Street.
Okay.
Contribute to this one, huh?
Yes.
Okay, good. So he basically takes it upon himself. Kris Kringle, Santa Claus, whatever you want to call him, because it's not obvious whether or not he's actually crazy or not. You don't even know as an audience member.
Yeah.
Because he's not displaying anything other than he's a really nice guy. He knows all about
He feels
Santa.
genuine.
He feels genuine.
Yeah.
And he basically takes it upon himself. He befriends this little girl, and he kind of starts talking to her, and he has her, tug on his beard and everything. He's got a real beard. It's not like a fake beard. He's not a cheap Santa. He's got his own Santa Claus suit, which is like real.
Yeah.
And like, anyways, it's really just I love the movie because it's not on the nose,
Yeah.
And then he has this job, and then there's this psychiatrist that has it out for him and wants to make it look like he's crazy. So he kind of enrages him and entices him, and he gets him to hit Kris Kringle to hit him.
Yeah.
And then he overplays it like it was a big hit, and he goes unconscious, and it's basically overplayed, and he gets the guy institutionalized.
It's interesting because the movie's like almost a play on the cynicism and the money hungry
adults
aspect of
and
the Christmas season.
Commerce and
Yeah, and it's, I mean, whether you are a fan of it or not, like Christmas time is when people go and spend a shit ton of money and buy presents.
it's a commercial holiday.
It's because
It is.
I mean, I don't know
Maybe
if
that's
it
why I'm not
always
in
has been
season
that
yet.
way. I
Yeah.
mean, I know there's been a form of exchanging gifts at some point in the origins of like the holiday, but or who was adopted from other religions or whatever. But I don't know. This film kind of like addresses that, and it addresses like what, and a lot of the really good Christmas films, I think, address like what the purpose of Christmas is versus like what the reality is which is just like spending money on people and
Right.
all that kind of stuff. It's like it kind of points at that because it's these executives are trying to make money and they want to commercialize this guy and take advantage of him and
Right, and
Anyway.
he basically represents the spirit of Christmas. So whether or not he really is Santa Claus or not, or whatever that, even if that's a person or just an ideal, it's just a spiritual essence of something. He does embody that.
Right.
He's generous. He's nice. He helps. He's like just a really good, jolly guy, and he gets institutionalized. And yes, he was wrong. And he then goes through that in himself. He feels like he let down the children by reacting, you know. And then there's this guy who lives in the building who's kind of courting the mother, who is a lawyer, and he decides to represent him in this
he does.
I want to say it's like New York versus Kris Kringle or some sort of case, right? It's
Yeah.
this thing, and he's going to represent
The people
him and
versus-
help him. Yeah, something. I don't even know if it was the people or if it was like Gimbals. It was something.
Yeah.
And it's a really interesting court case too, and it just does this whole thing. It's sort of like the guy doesn't necessarily believe, quote unquote, that he's Santa in that way, but he believes in his right to believe he's Santa and believes that this is a really good man who deserves just to be who he is, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And I just love it. And the whole way at the end of the movie, how they end up kind of convincing the judge and convincing everybody is this thing. He goes, okay, so if the United States Postal Service is a representative of the U.S. government, right, and whatever they say in terms of where they put things legitimizes it. If you're Neil Carson and you get mail at this address, it basically, and you get it and you receive it, you are Neil Carson.
Yeah.
Right? They acknowledge that because if they're sending it to you, they're acknowledging you're Neil Carson. So they go, all these letters that these kids are writing to the North Pole to Santa are getting delivered to the courthouse where Kris Kringle is.
Yeah.
So he basically has these mailmen come in with huge sacks of Christmas letters that are being sent to this guy.
Yeah.
Because everybody acknowledges, the reality is everybody acknowledges that he's Kris Kringle, that he's really Santa.
Right.
This is the guy, and we all acknowledge it. And if we all acknowledge something as the truth, it's pretty much the truth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of like, okay, this is a government body saying that this guy's Kris Kringle, therefore he's Kris Kringle.
Kris.
Yeah, that's his argument.
Yeah, and it's like this whole thing. Kris Kringle wins. We wins. He's Santa Claus. It's just a cool scene, and just
Yeah.
like, and then after that, the kind of thing where they go to the house, and the house has been. She wants a house. She wants a home, and she wants a father.
Yeah.
like that's what she
Oh, the
wants.
little girl,
A little
yeah.
girl, and she's like, if you're really Santa Claus, you'll be able to do that.
Yeah.
And if you're not, it's almost like a test, but at the same time, it's like that's really what she truly wants. She doesn't want anything else. She just wants a home and a family for real.
Yeah.
And the end, it's like, he got it for her.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and then you
Yeah.
see they're like, wait a minute, and then you see the cane leaning up against the corner. He's not there, but you see it, so you're like, he did it. He
Yeah.
got it for them. It's kind of just a crazy movie, and at
And
the
he,
end, you're
he
like,
doesn't
holy
get
shit.
into a sleigh and fly
Nope.
away.
None of
and
that happens.
Fly over the moon and.
But he was able to deliver this amazing gift.
Yeah.
How was he able to do that? I don't know. Like it's kind of
He did it from the beginning of the movie. It's like Inception. You have to rewatch it at the end and then look for all the clues where
Yeah.
it's like that was his plan the entire time was
Right.
to,
You didn't see the
just
other
for this
film.
one kid.
Yeah, he's like
one
took out a
thing.
mortgage. He's like in debt and up to his eyeballs. He's like, God, what did I do?
And
I played
the
this too
remake
deep.
is as good, I think.
I
as
love the
original.
remake.
The
I
remake is really good.
Written by John
remake
Hughes.
was great.
Yeah,
Richard Attenborough, who is John Hammond
I
in Jurassic
forget
Park.
who the
Welcome
little girl
to Jurassic
is
Park.
from,
It's a girl
Mrs.
from Matilda
Doubtfire.
and Mrs. Doubtfire and
Matilda,
Matilda.
I just
Matt
watched
Marilyn.
what was it? USA Today or whatever, Good Morning America or whatever episode where they had all
Where
the
Are
kids.
They Now kind of thing?
They had all the kids and Pierce Brosnan from Mrs.
Oh,
Doubtfire,
Mrs. Doubtfire,
and they were
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about
I saw that.
the whole experience. Or
This is
whatever.
the 25th anniversary this year. The movie's 93.
Oh, wow. They all look so different.
I know.
I mean, some like the little girl looks the most different to me
Yeah,
because she
'cause
was
she's-
so young.
She was, yeah.
But
she's
yeah, it was-
great in Miracle on 34th Street. That remake literally tugs on my heartstrings. That scene where he signs with a deaf girl,
Yeah.
where the mother just puts her in his lap and she goes, "Oh, she doesn't really."
That scene is
want-
crazy. The
talk. She just
behind the
wanted to-
scenes is
yes.
crazy.
But like that scene where she's like, she doesn't really want she's not gonna ask anything. She's deaf, so she can't hear you. She just wanted to see you, and he
But, like, you
he
gotta-
almost chokes up.
You have to tell him what's so.
I
good
will.
about
So
that
he
scene.
chokes up and he looks at her and he starts signing with her, and the mother can't believe it. And the little girl brightens up as soon as he starts doing sign language. He goes, "You are a very beautiful girl."
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful scene.
It's John Hammond.
Yes, it's John Hammond. It's Richard Attenborough. It's Sir Richard Attenborough. So, but what's cool is he, in real life, this was a real deaf girl.
Yeah.
And he learned sign language in order to speak with her.
Yeah, but, like,
And
nobody knew.
She didn't know.
Yeah.
Nobody knew. She didn't know that. So she sat in his lap and she didn't realize he was going to sign. She was just sitting there, deaf girl, and he starts signing in Santa Claus's sign language. It's so beautiful. Like, it's such
It's
a
like
great
the best
scene.
trickery in filmmaking. It's like you like when Hans Gruber, they're like, "We're gonna drop you on 3," and he's like, "Okay, good.
One.
And they just
Drops
drops
him.
his ass, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And it's like, got it.
Yep. It's
Like,
because it's authentic. It's
trickery.
natural.
Yeah, it creates. They're not acting. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally. All right. So that's Miracle on 34th Street. Just a beautiful
We
movie.
need to talk about Die Hard, but it's not black and white.
We will do. I already have an idea for one we're gonna do. It's why Die Hard is a Christmas movie. We should do an episode on
Oh,
that.
yeah,
and
yeah.
really break it down and go, this is why. Here's the ironclad argument. We'll do that. I think we should do that as one of the next ones.
Yeah. What's the saying? God, something doesn't drop until Hans. God, what is that? There's that GIF or whatever where it's like something doesn't drop until Hans drops or whatever.
Oh, I've never seen that.
I sent it to you. Got like.
with the words on it.
Yeah, it's like Hans Gruber
Oh.
dropping from the building, and then it's like, Christmas doesn't start. Oh, that's what it is. Christmas doesn't start until Hans drops or whatever.
That's awesome.
Oh my
I
gosh.
think you did say that's right. All right, so let's do another film now. What films? What's the next one? I have some.
Scrooged.
those
I would
two-
say White Christmas, but there are a lot of films that I haven't seen, black and white Christmas
Okay,
films that
well,
I haven't actually
Scrooge.
seen. But
Scrooge, like
or
Christmas Carol. Good. Let's
The
talk. Have you
original
seen those?
Christmas Carol?
There's a
There's
bunch
two,
of them.
I think.
Christmas
There's
Carol,
1938. There's 1951, but there's also other ones. There was like Scrooge in like 1935.
The Bishop's Wife,
They did it-
which became
Well, why are you on
I don't know
another
if I've
subject?
seen that.
We're talking Christmas Carol.
No,
We're talking
that's it.
Christmas Carol.
that's a
But Bishop's. Are we done to talk about the Scrooge one you're talking about? We're going to talk about that, right? You said Bishop's.
oh,
Wife, but I thought
you
we were about
guys
to
sounded
talk
like
about
you're
Christmas-
naming off movies.
No, I'm talking about all the different Christmas Carol movies they did. So we're going to isolate one. Like you said, Christmas Carol. So I said, let's talk about that. And then he was like, there was a bunch of them. So I'm just saying, yeah, there were a bunch.
Was White Christmas black and white, or was that
Holy
that,
shit.
That was in color.
Can we talk about one movie? Fucking Jesus! I'm trying to like sell him to calm down. He's like, Bishop, I did it. I'm like, oh my god!
You need to get into the Christmas spirit.
I
Nick.
know,
Get
right?
it all worked
This
up,
guy.
man.
No, we're
Just
talking about
drink
Christmas
some
Carol.
eggnog and calm down, dog.
that-
Do you like eggnog?
I do, but I get
love
sick every time.
eggnog.
I know we've had eggnog in our fridge for 2 months for you.
Don't,
You need a
don't
cup of tea?
drink
You
the
know- you want a cup
alcoholic
of tea?
eggnog is like it's all right. It's too much,
All
but
right.
just eggnog straight.
You're
so
goddamn
here's the thing. There's
anarchist.
this German.
I just want to talk about
There's this German version
Oh
of
my
eggnog.
God.
Oh, really?
It is the bomb. I'm telling you.
Wait, where do they
I need
sell
to-
it?
They don't
I'm
sell
all
it. You
about
have to make
trying
it.
different types of eggnog. Like
Yo,
I found an organic one.
I'm gonna find the name of
like
it.
organic cows and shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna find the name of it. This is.
All right, yeah. Send
This
me a
is,
link.
yeah, I'm gonna find them. I'm gonna send it
All
to
right,
you.
here we
Yeah,
go.
because this is holiday spirit shit right here.
Yeah.
All right,
Dude,
all
I'm
right.
all about it. I'm all about it.
Rewind.
We just want a sippy sip.
Okay, so you
So,
mentioned
Christmas
Diego. That
Carol.
was good. You mentioned Scrooge.
Yes.
Christmas Carol. So I just wanted to say, let's just kind of talk about that. There was actually a bunch of them that were done.
Yeah.
Sometimes they were called Scrooge. Sometimes they were called Christmas Carol, and they've been doing them for decades. Eventually, they went into color in 1970
Yeah.
or whatever. But there was at least 2 black and white. I've seen a bunch of those. The 2 black and white ones I love are the 1938 one and the I think it was 51.
Okay.
They're so good. Like, I remember I first saw those, I want to say like, it was like 10 years ago now, maybe a little more than 10 years ago. And I watched them around the Christmas time, and I was like, holy shit, these are so good.
Yeah.
Because I love the Christmas Carol story. Like, I've always loved that. Like, Scrooged is like my favorite film.
yeah.
It's a play on that.
God, who?
Jim Carrey, the
No.
3D
Who's the
one?
author of?
Oh,
Carol?
Dickens.
Yeah, Charles
Charles
Dickens. Yeah.
Dickens.
It's the ultimate like it blew my mind the first time I like experienced that story. I'm not sure what that was. Maybe it was like Muppets or
Muppets.
something
Yeah,
like that.
with Patrick Stewart.
But like the whole concept of like, wow, somebody like hundreds of years ago like saw this, like recognized. I mean, whatever. It's like for me it was a big revelation, but
Yeah.
clearly other people have recognized this. But that money isn't everything.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
that's kind of like that the whole creating joy and experiencing joy in life was more important than holding on to all your wealth and dying.
Being a miser.
Yeah, and all that. And that's kind of like the whole story. It's like this guy,
Yeah.
and it's like Citizen Kane is what
Yeah.
it is.
It is. Well, because
It all comes back to
Did
Citizen Kane.
Did you see that movie that came out last year called The Man Who Invented Christmas? And it's about
No, I
it's
haven't
about
seen it.
the
My
writing of that
sister
book.
just
Yeah.
mentioned it to me. She was like, "You need to watch this movie. It's really good."
Apparently, at least per that movie, that book ushered in modern Christmas.
Yeah.
To celebrate, the way they celebrate in that book is basically
Tiny
how we
Tim.
celebrate now with the dinner and the tree. And this is all that kind of stuff kind of emanated from
who's
that.
the guy in it? It's what's his name, right?
Is it Lee Pace? Plays him? I think Lee Pace plays him.
Oh, what am I thinking? I'm thinking there must have been a Christmas Carol with Christopher Plummer. That's the one. There was a version.
Christopher Plummer
I think he
played.
did.
No, he played.
He's in the movie.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the movie is about the guy writing it, but then he keeps seeing the ghost or seeing Ebenezer Scrooge come to life in front of him as he writes it, and Christopher Plummer plays him.
Wow, that's
So it's
great.
kinda
I want to
cool.
see it just for
Yeah,
that. I mean,
it's
I love
just a fun.
Christopher
Yeah,
Plummer,
it's a fun
I don't know
film.
if I've seen it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I think
came out
it's-
last year.
I think
saw it in
it's on
theaters.
like it's either Netflix or Amazon Prime, one of those.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it pop up, and I'm like, oh, maybe we should watch.
Yeah,
this,
it's just
but-
interesting. It's an interesting movie. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the greatest movie, but it's fun to watch, especially if you like that story and you want to see how he wrote it. Because he'd done I think A Tale of Two Cities or whatever, but then his next follow up was like a bomb, and he was not considered a bankable author at that point, and he was
So
like
many
had a writer's
authors like
block,
that,
and yeah. So, anyways, these movies, 1938, 1951, because I always loved the Christmas Carol story, and then I watched those movies back to back, and I was like, holy shit, these are good.
Yeah.
Like the guys who played Ebenezer Scrooge were fantastic.
I think it was
Like,
a stage. They had like a whole series of stage plays like overseas. I think that was
Oh, I'm
like
sure,
I think
yeah.
that came before, and then when
The movies?
when film became super popular and they could actually pull it off. Like
Yeah.
that's when you saw the film adaptations. But I'm almost like Harvey was a stage play.
Right.
It got. I mean, you could tell, and when you watch the movie, it all takes place in like two places. or
Yeah,
something,
exactly.
you
It's
know.
like definitely
And
a
I think-
lot, a studio lot or.
Yeah, that's the same way with the Christmas Carol films. They
Right.
take place in like 2 or 3 locations.
his house, the street, his
Tiny Tim's
place of work.
Yeah, what's
work.
his-
Cratchit.
Cratchit?
Cratchit.
Cratchit?
Cratchit.
Cratchit. It's like
yeah,
Cratchit.
Cratchit. Yeah. Which is his worker or whatever, and
Yeah.
at his place.
What does
and
Tiny
then,
Tim
and then I
say?
think his nephew's place or something.
What is it? What is this saying? That's like an old movies?
God bless us, everyone.
God bless us, everyone.
Yeah. Anything to add, little man? God bless us.
Oh yeah,
Scrooged.
Scrooge. Yeah, so good.
Yeah. So that's all. I mean, all those scenes are in there. But those 2 movies, and I believe that 38 one was actually my favorite out of those 2.
Yeah.
They were just, I don't know. It was, you saw these kids playing through the streets and in snow, and it just, I don't know. There's something about that movie really captured the spirit of it.
Yeah.
And they felt like the least forced of like all the Christmas Carol stories I'd ever seen. Because, you know, when you've done it a million times, you're relying on the million movies that have been done before. And this is one of the first ones to do it. And to bring it to life.
I love the Jim Carrey.
Oh my
Robert
God, that
Zemeckis
was so
one.
good.
I still watch that.
Yeah.
Like, I watch
no,
that
I'm
every
saying they're
year.
all actually fantastic. George C. Scott was in one of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good ones. I'm not ragging on
God,
them
what
at
is
all. But when you
the
see
one
one
I
that-
saw as a kid was the Christmas Carol with Mickey. It was like Mickey
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah,
Scrooge,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Donald
Yeah, the
or whatever,
Disney
like
guys, yeah, the
yeah.
Disney
Uncle
characters.
Scrooge
Yep.
plays, and that's what I grew up
Ebenezer
on. We
Scrooge.
had that shit on VHS. It all just came back to me. Like I remember watching that shit because that whole scene at the end always fucked me up as a kid, where he's like falling into like pit and he's grabbing onto the branches and like they're snapping and he's like trying.
Oh
to,
yeah. Oh
like
my
pull like
gosh.
Donald or not Donald. It was Scrooge, Uncle Scrooge.
Yeah,
Uncle
Uncle
Scrooge.
That's
Scrooge
why he's
from-
called Scrooge.
from DuckTales. Yeah, he literally is.
He's
that
named
became,
after
Dude,
this
you have
fucking
like the
Ebenezer
DuckTales
Scrooge.
song in my head right now.
Yeah.
Woohoo. Dun,
I
dun,
mean, this was like a Christmas special they did. Like
Yeah.
ABC would do
I've
these
seen- I've
like
seen it, yeah.
animated whatever.
I
specials
think
in
it's
the
been on
80s,
Disney.
90s or
Disney as
something.
of the last couple of years.
I need
Yeah.
to rewatch that. It's like an hour long. It's not the super long. But
Right.
it's great.
So that word, I mean, Scrooge became a word. Everybody knows. Oh, he's a Scrooge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It became part of the vocabulary.
Yeah.
You know, because of this character, Ebenezer Scrooge, who was a crotchety old man who didn't believe in Christmas. Bah, humbug. And like he barely wanted to. I guess you're gonna want to be taking tomorrow off from work. You know, his little clerk or whatever in his place of business wants to take, you know, the next day off for Christmas. He wants to leave Christmas Eve to
Yeah.
have food with his family, including his crippled son.
Wasn't it based on? I mean, I remember reading an article where they said the author Charles Dickens had read about a guy who was like wealthy,
Yeah.
lived in a huge house by himself, and essentially died of starvation because he was so. He was just. I guess they didn't understand whatever. Clearly, the guy was mentally ill,
Yeah.
but the dude died of starvation in his house. He had like one candle in his room, wouldn't burn buy any wood or whatever, burnt wood, burnt coal or whatever to stay warm, and like froze to death and then died of starvation. And then when they went in his house, he was like tons of money in there.
Right.
Like he had tons of money, and like there was an article or something, and that inspired.
I don't remember seeing that in the movie, The Man Who Invented for Christmas, but I don't know how accurate the movie
I think I read
was.
it on Wikipedia. It could be bullshit. You can't
Right.
trust
It could be.
Wikipedia.
It could be.
Or I read it somewhere.
Credible
I can't
source.
remember,
But
yeah.
if you
The
want,
internet.
so I've seen a lot of Christmas Carol movies. I've seen the Patrick Stewart with the Muppets. I've seen the 1970 Scrooge one. I've seen Scrooged. I've seen the Jim Carrey
Carrey,
one.
yeah.
The
They
animated
have
one.
to, I feel like
I've
the
seen
Disney one.
Yeah, I've seen so many of them, and out of all the ones I've
Well, did
seen,
you see the Matthew McConaughey one?
Ghosts of Christmas Past or Girlfriends of Christmas Past or
Something like that.
What? It was not good.
Matthew McConaughey did it. Fucking
When he was on his whole
Scrooge movie.
slew of romantic comedies.
It was like it's a rom-com where he like his girlfriends
Ghosts of Girlfriends Past or something.
yeah, it's
really-
like literally all these women who are still alive
Yeah.
like show up to him who he like wronged in
Yeah.
his like relationships.
Womanizing.
Yeah, womanizing or whatever in the
Yeah.
past. And they show up in like the past, present, and future of like all his horrible relationships. It's a rom-com, but it like plays on that.
yeah.
That like
It takes that Christmas Carol.
It should be
theme.
included.
Yeah.
because it's
So, but out of all of those, I think it's out of these two black and white films really stand out amongst the crowd, and specifically the 1938 one.
Yeah.
There's something about it, and I would really recommend. They're like an hour and a half or less. These movies, they're short.
Where can you see them? Are they on?
I don't
You can
know.
rent them from Amazon. You can
Amazon?
See if they're streaming somewhere though. I would be surprised if the 1938 one isn't like in public domain by this point. It's probably if it is, it's probably on Amazon Prime for streaming.
I think due to the season, that's why it's hard to find it.
Yeah.
streaming for free.
They do that shit on
You know, so
purpose.
there's this app I'm
Oh, they
using these days.
100% do.
I'm using this app these days called Just Watch.
Yeah.
Where it literally you could use that to go find out. You just plug in a movie and it'll tell you where
Oh,
it's
that's
streaming,
cool.
and it includes all the different streaming apps, even the more obscure
'cause
ones.
when I like go on Google, it only shows me like Google Play, Netflix,
Yep.
Amazon.
Yeah,
And I'm
no.
like it's got to be. There's like hundreds.
you need
of
to go
other
to
streaming
DuckDuckGo.
services.
Yeah.
DuckDuckGo
DuckDuckGo also has it. All right, good. I want to mention two other ones. I don't want to spend as much time with them because we've obviously covered the two most important ones.
Wait. You go, let's keep them 40 minutes. I know we're running out of time.
Well, we have to mention more than just the obvious ones. Otherwise, what are we
It's just
doing?
your
How are
whole-
we helping people?
It's just the timeline of your statements. Where are we? 40 minutes. Okay, good.
No, I think we can do the rest of these in 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. We'll just.
I have
mention
two more
them.
movies I want to
have-
go through
We
real
have
quick.
5 seconds to disarm this bomb. How many seconds do we have left? 2. Okay, good.
Okay, how many seconds now? I want to mention Holiday Inn, which is the original place White Christmas. The song White Christmas appeared in.
Really?
It's a precursor. Then they took that song and they expanded it to a whole movie. Okay.
I thought White
it's got
Christmas,
Bing
the
Crosby.
song came from White Christmas.
Oh, no. It came from Holiday Inn, which is
I
a
don't think
black
I've
and
ever
white film
seen
with
it.
Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire.
Oh, okay.
Really good movie. I just rewatched it recently. It's the whole premise of this movie is you got these two dance partners, which are Fred Astaire and Bing Crosby, and Bing Crosby's hooked up with this woman who dances with them, and he decides he doesn't want to be in the showbiz life anymore, so he's going to buy a farm, and him and the woman are just going to leave the showbiz life and go live on this farm.
Yeah.
Little does he know, Fred Astaire is totally banging this woman, and it stole her basically. And apparently, he's been doing that like their entire career. He just keeps stealing all his women.
Bing
So,
Crosby's women.
yeah, Fred Astaire is totally.
Just
a
to
piece
be
of shit
clear,
in this movie.
banging
Shit.
at that time meant everybody sat on the opposite side of the bed.
Yeah,
That's
two
all I
beds,
can
two
find.
beds,
Two beds,
two different beds. Yeah.
Well,
no,
that was Hollywood's representation of it.
Yeah, I mean, he
don't know
totally
how many
maxed
people
on her.
Actually did
Ooh,
that.
He
they're
told-
doing something. They got two separate beds in
No.
one room. Oh,
no, in real
shit.
life they totally were like all fornicators.
Yeah,
so,
in real life there was one bed, and that's where people slept.
Yeah.
But in Hollywood, they were like, can't show a toilet flushing, can't
Yeah.
show two people sleeping
true,
in
you
the same
couldn't.
bed.
There's a history behind why that got started. It's really fucking interesting.
Toilet?
No, why the two bed whole system got started.
Yeah. Do we want to go
okay.
into that? Or
No, we
okay,
don't.
good,
no.
good.
That's what I said.
So
Unless it's Christmas, black and white film related.
right, exactly. So
It might be.
There's gift giving.
The first film was.
There's gift giving. That's all I can say.
wow, there's actually a few Christmas Carol movies
There
on
are. There's
Prime.
the
No, on
what's
Prime.
the Connecticut one?
Christmas in Connecticut.
Christmas
no, I'm
in
saying
Connecticut.
Christmas Carol movies. There are a few of them on Prime, some of the older ones. Okay, but Holiday Inn. So he totally steals his girl. So Bing Crosby is left to basically leave. The woman's going to stay with Fred Astaire, and she's going to keep dancing and everything. He's going to go off to this farm he bought for them, and he's going to go fucking do this shit. So he goes off to the farm, and he's like, this is not for me. I hate this. I hate dealing with pigs and farm life and everything like that. He decides to turn this entire farm, and specifically the big, huge farmhouse, into a venue for shows.
This literally sounds like White Christmas, the movie.
Right. White Christmas was emanated from Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
Because in it, he goes, okay, this place is only, because he was tired of working holidays and working 365 days a year. So he goes, this place is only going to be open 15 times a year for all major holidays.
Yeah.
4th of July, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Lincoln's. Okay. I have to say this. During the Lincoln's birthday everybody's in blackface. And he's like... Yeah, it's a bad scene. They're all in blackface, and he specifically goes into this other woman's dressing room, and he goes, "Okay, good, we're gonna do blackface." I just realized that's gonna make this number way better. She goes, "Oh, I thought I would just like look like this and just like look pretty." He goes, "Nah, we definitely need to do blackface." He basically forces blackface on her. They come out, and everybody, all the waiters, everybody's in blackface, and he comes out in total blackface with a chin strap beard, and he basically sings how amazing Lincoln is. It's really bad. So let's not talk about that scene. But there's the
Great Christmas
scene.
movie that you should watch this year.
This
Yeah.
movie.
So other than that, the Christmas scenes are
But
great.
back then, that was like endearing. They were like,
was-
"Oh, I'm sure all those slaves love being free."
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
we can.
Endearing.
They did. I mean, the whole song, because he writes a song for every holiday, and they do a performance that's holiday themed. So the Christmas one, he writes a song White Christmas, and there's a scene where he's telling this girl who ends up dancing and he falls in love with is a new girl that performs with him.
Yeah.
He tells her he's written a song for every holiday, and he sings her the White Christmas song. New chick.
Okay.
The other one's like a side character. This other one's the leading actress in the film.
Oh,
and
okay.
he basically writes a song and he sings it for her at the piano, and it's actually beautiful. Like it's intimate. It's just them two at the piano. Nobody else is around, and he sings her White Christmas. And this
Yeah.
is the first time you ever heard White Christmas was in this movie Holiday Inn.
Did
And it's
Bing Crosby write it himself?
I don't know if he wrote it originally. I don't know, but he performs that, and it's literally I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. He does all that.
As he's
and then-
wearing blackface.
no, it's not. Why you gotta ruin it? So then she comes in and she then they start a duet of it, but it's all very intimate. It's kind of beautiful. So there are some good scenes. I mean, Fred Astaire's dance numbers in this film are awesome. There's a scene where he's drunk off his ass dancing, and it's beautiful because he's an awesome dancer and he's doing it drunk.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful choreographed scene. So that's Holiday Inn.
I need to see it now just for the blackface. You just got me stuck on this blackface thing.
I know
man.
every moment in this movie that he's been talking
man.
about.
All
now
I'm
is this-
thinking about.
I'm seeing this person
You're trying
with
to
a black
describe
face.
this awesome.
I'm seeing this
I
romantic
know.
moment with blackface.
I've never-
It
I
really
don't-
came out of left
I'm seeing-
field. I was like,
yeah.
what am I watching?
I'm seeing this dance moment,
And they
with
called it blackface. They call it blackface in the movie. Like I was like, oh, I guess that really was like what it was referred to.
Well, there are a lot of people that feel like it's not. It's whatever. There are people that justify it and they're like, oh, it's an endearing. It can be used as an endearing thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so that less than
that reminds me of
1%.
It is
Breakfast
done-
at Tiffany's with Nikki.
Oh
Nikki
yeah,
Rooney.
we talked about Mickey Rooney. Yeah.
Mrs. Golightly.
I must.
and I'm like,
it's so bad.
it's weird because like you just get the vibe that like back then in Hollywood they were like,
People
oh,
were
these are all
laughing.
second-rate citizens. Like we can talk down
Yeah.
about all these non-Caucasians.
Yeah.
It was okay to basically completely stereotype and make fun of another race. That
Yeah, it was
okay.
like you just got the vibe that it was like totally.
Hey, listen,
fine.
the
Like,
point
nobody
is-
even questioned.
The point
it.
is, if somebody was making fun of white people at that time, that would have been fun. Like if black people were allowed to wear whiteface and make fun of, but like that wasn't happening at the same time, so it didn't feel like a level playing field at all.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Like nobody was going, oh, let these other races then dress up like white people and like
Make
depict
fun.
them being completely terrible people. Like, yeah, they didn't do that. So it didn't feel like a level playing field. It's just white people
Well, they couldn't,
playing
yeah.
other races,
Yeah.
and also not giving those people an opportunity to play their own race. You know.
Yeah, that's where it also got weird. It was
Yeah.
like, why is this the white dude playing an Asian
true.
guy? I mean, they even had like
That's not a-
fake
And the
eye
big
things
teeth.
and the big teeth.
That's not an.
And he's wearing a gi or like a robe, a komodo, like the
Which
whole
is
time.
so weird because I watched a couple of these, just totally unrelated, but a couple of these Sherlock Holmes films that came out before World War II,
Yeah.
and they actually had, they had people of the proper race playing the
Playing the
proper
Asian,
character.
yeah.
Like,
But
like
that
they
was
did-
that was
like-
that was like a British production or something like that.
maybe
or a
that's what it is.
European
Maybe it was
production,
because it was
yeah.
a British
No,
production. that
they didn't always have just white people playing other people.
No,
they
I
did
know,
have
I
other
know.
races, but like sometimes they wouldn't. Like for instance, this whole
Maybe it's a
scene
more
where they're on
American
blackface
thing.
is like all the waiters were in blackface, all the waitresses, all the
Were there
bartenders,
any
the
black
coat check
people
girl
in the
was
movie?
black. Yeah, he had a servant that was black who had 2 black children, and they were really cute. And they were all singing the song with him. They're sitting there talking about how Abraham Lincoln was such a great man and freed all the slaves, which I mean he was, but it just feels very weird to have the only black people in the film just singing about the savior white man. It just felt weird. It felt like
So
Yeah.
off.
basically, this
Yeah.
film is not.
No,
it's
no.
recommended as a.
But no, just take
But
that
it's-
into account.
yeah.
Like this was 1940 something. Like this
Yeah.
was like a lot earlier. Just take it into
This is
like,
right after World War II.
when was the film? It was let's see. I want to say
43?
it was before that. Yeah, because when was White Christmas?
Oh man,
I think it was 43.
I don't know. I mean, I remember watching White Christmas as a kid. Like we watched
Holiday Inn is 1942. So yeah, it was during the war. It's 42.
Oh.
It was
Yeah.
45,
Yeah.
1945.
Holiday Inn was 42. White
Christmas
Christmas was
is
45.
This is 45.
Yeah, no, yeah, but Holiday Inn was 42. White Christmas was 45. Is what you're saying, right?
No, I'm saying Holiday Inn says here.
No,
it's
Holiday
45.
You're not looking at the right one because I'm looking at Holiday Inn. It's 1942. Oh no, that's yeah,
Yeah, it says
1942.
1942 on my.
What are you
thing.
looking at?
Holiday
I have
Inn.
no clue.
Holiday INN.
Sven. I don't know.
Dude, this guy,
Yeah.
you can't trust anything
Wait,
that
I'm
comes out
gonna
of his
Google
mouth.
this. Holiday Inn blackface.
Oh, okay. But let me tell you about one other film before we end this podcast, okay? Okay.
I'm looking at Bustle.
That's not Holiday Inn. You looked at
No,
the
no, no,
one-
no. I'm looking at the news source Bustle.
Oh, I was
don't-
looking at IMDb, said it was 42.
Yeah, IMDb is
Yeah.
correct. Yeah,
Okay, so
1942.
one last film I just want to talk about real quick.
Oh god, I can't watch.
That's it. That's the worst part. They put her hair up and all these. No, that's the worst part.
Hey, this last one, just keep it short, bro.
Okay, good.
Oh my
All
god.
right. So one last film.
that is so.
One last
bad.
film, one last film.
Oh,
Tell
dude,
me,
why
have you
did
guys se-
recommend this movie? I'm never gonna watch this.
I know. Okay.
All right, I'll
one
watch it,
last.
I'll watch it, I'll
You're
watch it.
totally gonna watch it. Okay, so one last film. Have you guys ever seen The Shop Around the Corner? Jimmy Stewart.
No.
Okay, this is. Have you seen You've Got Mail?
Yeah.
You've Got Mail was basically a remake of The Shop Around the Corner.
Okay.
In fact, so much so that Meg Ryan's store is called The Shop Around the Corner, and You've Got Mail. You remember she has the bookstore, the little bookstore,
Yeah, yeah.
and he's a big, huge
Oh, I didn't know that.
bookstore. Yeah. So The Shop Around the Corner is the
You've
name
Got
of
Mail
the.
is not a Christmas movie.
No, there's Christmas in it. There's Christmas scenes in You've Got Mail.
Season.
Yeah, there's definitely. I was just rewatching it recently, and she's dressing the tree, like she's decorating the tree at one point. There's definitely Christmas scenes in the movie. It's not a
Okay.
Christmas movie per se, but there's
Does it
Christmas
span
scenes.
over?
Yeah.
Oh, past
few
Christmas?
few months. Yeah. And so, okay, Shop Around the Corner is 1940. It's Jimmy Stewart, okay? And it's You've Got Mail. It's the same concept, but they're writing letters to each other anonymously instead of email.
Instead of email, yeah.
Yeah, but instead of them being in two different stores or him being, they work in the same store.
Oh, okay.
And he's kind of an asshole, and they fight and they hate each other.
Yeah.
And he treats her like shit and garbage. And but they're corresponding and they kind of fall in love through letters, not knowing. And then that whole scene, which is also in You Got Mail, where he is supposed to go meet her, and then he has his friend look in to see, and then he says, "That's Miss Novak, the girl we work with, is there." He goes, "What?" Like, and he realizes it's her, and then he goes in and to see her, but he doesn't wear the rose on his lapel to show that he's the guy, so she just thinks it's Jimmy Stewart from the fucking store that she hates coming in to ruin her date night. So it's and then she kind of falls in love with him, and then so it's You Got Mail, but they're in the same store. Okay. And there's a lot of other things that go on in this film that are more than You Got Mail. Really concentrates on just the romance. Shop Around the Corner, which all happens during the Christmas season. They work in this bustling shop, actually in Budapest, strangely enough. Nobody's Hungarian in this film, but they're all in Budapest.
Okay.
Which is kind of strange. But it's really it's Jimmy Stewart. I'll watch him in anything. And he's great in this film.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
There's a lot of crazy shit that goes on in this film. His boss tries to kill himself at one point and ends up in an institution. It's like...
You could also say, you know what, this is a total random one, but I think it fits. God damn it, what's the movie with Cheryl McClane that I told you to watch? The Apartment.
The Apartment
is
Christmas,
technically a Christmas movie.
Sure
Did
is.
you know that movie won Best Picture?
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Best Picture of the
I watched
Oscars.
that
Apartment.
recently.
It's Jack
I watched
Lemmon.
it recently because you had recommended it.
Christmas
Shirley
movie.
MacLaine
Dark
and
movie.
Jack Lemmon.
But really
very
good.
dark. Talk
Yeah.
about killing yourself. Yeah, that's...
But it takes place all during Christmas.
It
That's
does.
the whole, he goes to the bar, they're getting drunk, and...
Yeah.
You know.
But if you like You've Got Mail, which was a Nora Ephron movie with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, and if you like that and you want to see the original, the inspiration for that movie, that has a lot of great elements, including similar scenes that are in You've Got Mail.
Is there any blackface?
There's no blackface.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's called The Shop Around the Corner. There's no black people in it either. Everybody's white, but...
So you can't have
Hollywood
blackface without black
whitewashing.
people.
Yeah.
And you
There's
can't
no
have
black
Is that
people.
whitewashing?
Yeah, I think it's called whitewashing.
Yeah.
Okay, it's called The Shop Around
No,
the Corner.
whitewashing is when you have white...
People
play
play
other
characters that
races.
could... No, not necessarily. Like, they could be the character was originally written black, but now a white person's, Whitewashing is just putting black, white people...
What is it called when Damon Wayans did that White Chicks?
No, that was Marlon Wayans and
Marlon Wayans?
Sean Wayans
Not Damon
did
Wayans,
White
Marlon
Chicks.
Wayans, Sean Chicks,
It's
yeah.
not called anything. It's called... Well, finally they're doing it too, so it's okay.
That was such a funny movie.
That's a funny movie. It's a funny
but it
movie.
was like the makeup always looked off to me.
Yeah, no.
It
There's no
always
way
looked
you would
off.
actually
That's
believe...
why.
Yeah.
There's no way
That was
you'd believe.
purposeful.
Okay.
Although Dave Chappelle was able to pull it off pretty well when he would do it on Chappelle's show.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So The Shop Around the Corner, really good movie, heartfelt movie, good romance, good funny movie, and it's the original You've Got Mail, if you've ever wanted to see it, 1940 Jimmy Stewart.
In the Apartment.
And The Apartment's also good.
And The
one.
Apartment.
Takes place during Christmas. Doesn't feel like a Christmas movie.
Not at all, actually. Really.
But it's like
but if you
really
want,
good.
Yeah, but if you want to watch a movie that's a really good fucking film, that's great acting, good storyline, that's black and white film, and it's got Christmas themes in it, The Apartment, another good one.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. I think that's a good list.
All right, I would stick to the first two because that wasn't very controversial.
They're more feel good.
Yeah, they were
I mean,
more
Shop
feel
Around the
good.
Corner wasn't
First,
controversial.
Yeah, that's true.
Or Shop
No,
Around
it's
the Corner.
only
Yeah.
Holiday Inn has that blackface
I
scene.
feel
That's
like
the only
it-
thing that...
Oh god, yeah. I haven't seen the movie. I need to watch the movie now because just looking at
I
these
feel like
photos,
that
I'm
scene
disturbed.
is
Yeah.
just going to.
It
just,
was out of left field when I watched it. I was like, what the hell happened? Because this movie was totally all right. It was a good movie. And that happened, and I was like, this went south quick.
Ooh.
Anyways, but no, seriously, it's a wonderful...
My only black friend.
It's a Wonderful
This
Life.
doesn't look
And her
good.
name's Mammy, by the way, his servant. Of course she is. She's a big black woman. Her name's Mammy. It's like... Anyways, It's a Wonderful Life, Miracle on 34th Street, Holiday Inn, The Shop Around the Corner, and The Apartment. All good Christmas black and white movies. There you go.
So I'm gonna try to get into this holiday spirit by watching "It's a Wonderful Life" or
Yeah.
"Miracle on 34th Street."
Totally agree. Those are the top of the list.
Yeah, those are definitely on the top of the
Yeah.
list. So.
And Christmas Carol, 1938 and 1951. Those are the other ones. Sorry.
You know, I'm gonna check out Kurt Russell's new role as Santa Claus too. So that might be interesting.
Yep. I agree.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the Santa
so
Claus.
on
yeah.
Netflix,
Santa
so-
Claus
Chronicles.
Chronicles.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna check that out. So, all right, guys, thank you for joining us here at Get to the Podcast. That's Get to the Podcast with the number 2. My name is Diego de Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. Right down Santa Claus Lane. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I feel like I've never properly learned all the lyrics.
It's over. Go home. Go.